Be wise, how are you?
I'm very well, ma. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
All right, good evening once again. Sorry and apologies for the delay. We'll just get into it right away. Thank you everyone for joining again this evening. Today is the second day for book reading, which is the book we're reading, which is Power by, that's by Pfeffrey, yes, by Jeffrey Pfeffrey. I hope I got the name right. And today we're looking at chapter 2 of this book, with exciting members who will be, taking us on the chapter, that is chapter 3 and 4, right? That's chapter 3 and 4, which is choosing where to start and also getting in, standing out, and breaking some rules. And we have incredible speakers and delightful speakers, from Mr. Aliu to Mr. Toyin, our president as well. Okay, I will just leave the floor for. Okay, Mr. Maro, right? Sorry, I remember that Mr. Twain did his introduction yesterday. So, Mr. Maro also be taking the fourth chapter from there. All right, Mr. Ali, you can take the mic from here. Thank you.
You're muted, sir.
Okay.
We can hear you now, sir.
Okay, let me know if my screen is visible.
Okay, it's coming up. Yes, I can see your screen now. You can put it on slideshow.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. You're good to go.
Okay. Good evening, all. It's nice being here again after over a year, and listening to Nanlab yesterday, how she was able to the mastery with which she anchored the session yesterday and articulated everything, and also to Oluwatoyin and Dr. Marayo. I honestly don't feel qualified, to make a presentation here today. So please bear with the quality. You might not get as good as what you got yesterday. Having said that, we're going to look at chapter 3, which is talking about choosing where to start. This gives insight into the power dynamics and the power interplay in organizations, and how do you position yourself, you understand, in a place whereby you would grow fast and acquire as much power and authority as possible. So looking at the first slide we have here, it says, why career starting position determines power trajectory. In our careers, we start at a particular point, and where we start determines how far we will go in different organizations. Starting your career in powerful units offers faster salary growth and earlier promotion. It depends on the unit you start driving your career. For example, in my own organization, if you're in sales, the tendency for you to grow fast and attain a better position and earn more salary because of the sales, because of commission and other things, is far more higher than maybe, for example, with customer relations or other units, facility, for example. So in an organization, it's very important to look at where you start, the department you start, and what is being done there. How strategic is the department to the revenue and the growth of the organization, So a starting position and where you start an organization determines how far you will go in most cases. Structural advantage over talent, right? This talks about how you align to the structure and organization. You understand, not just the talent you have, but where do you sit? Where do you operate? How close are you to power? And how well equipped are you to utilize whatever opportunity you have to leverage on the power within your cycle to grow an organization? So not just hard work, but hard work in a smart way. So this basically speaks, like I've said earlier, where you start in an organization, and then how impactful is that unit you start is to the organization. So not just the talents you have or the skills you have, but then the positioning of your department and yourself as an individual determines how far you will go. Then power shifts as markets and strategies evolve. Choosing units likely to grow is key for long term. Like I've mentioned earlier, in my organization, it depends on the unit you begin with. If you are in sales, for example, the likelihood of you growing very fast and attaining positions of power is quite different from someone in other departments. So it's very easy to grow in some units compared to other units. We are seeing all this so that you can know as an individual how to assess and analyze an organization and determine where do I start from, where do I enter from, where do I belong to if I have the opportunity, so that to position you strategically for growth over time. Are you in a place with good visibility, right, and strategic purpose in an organization, or are you just somewhere that is crowded and redundant that you might be forgotten? When it's time to cut down headcount, it begins from your end, for example. So this slide particularly tells us how to position yourself, how to assess, evaluate, and analyze organization and determine where you should belong to, and the power interplay between different departments and units, and even the position you work. You understand? For example, let me say this again: if you work in the HQ, you're closer to the seat of power, and you relate to more top executives compared to if you work in the region. You might be on the same rank with someone in the region, and in HQ, you are more strategic and more relevant because of people you interact with on a daily basis, right? So where you start and how you position yourself in an organization matters a lot in the level of power you attain over time. This speaks into how departments gain and lose power in organization. We spoke earlier for individuals to position themselves in organizations and determine where they're going to start. That's also going to determine how far they go in most cases. So how do departments gain and lose power over time? Departments gain and lose power. It depends on, for example, if your department is working towards addressing the most difficult situations or challenges in an organization, most likely, for example, your department will be a powerful department with the CEO and things like that. So it's very important to find yourself or to belong to a department where things happen, where you're in charge of strategic thinking, designing the pathway for the organization, and solving the key problems, and the priority of the organization. Then where do departments get their powers from? They get their power from the budget they control, you understand, from the revenue they generate, you understand, and how they're involved in decision making. For example, somebody like in the finance department in an organization might have access to key executives, and then might be in a position to control more resources and belong to a more strategic group of people compared to others in other departments. So power comes from departments, from the resources they control, the expertise and decision making roles within the department, the organization. Then department lose influence when their skills become commoditized or when organizational focus changes. We've seen over time AI taking over roles to understand of people in different units. So if the role you play in an organization in your department can be automated, can be digitized, your department gradually loses focus and influence and status. So, like I've mentioned in the previous slide, it's very important for you to look at the departments of the organization and decide where to start. And then, if you come to evaluate the departments, you should look at, okay, what resources is allocated here, what revenue is directed here, what skills do they have here, what priorities do they have here, how strategic are they to the vision of the organization. That determines where power lies amongst all departments in an organization. Individuals can advance by aligning with ascending departments and understanding leadership priorities. So as an individual, if you align to departments that are strategic, and control a whole lot of resources and generate a whole lot of revenue, and are key or central to solving key issues in the organization, you are most likely to grow and rise very fast because you liaise with very important personalities within the organization, and then you'll gain influence and power through that. Hope I'm not being too fast. Please bear with my pace. Then, practical indicators of identifying underlying power in units. What are the things you're supposed to observe? In the previous slide, we looked at how departments understand gain and lose power. Let me go back a bit. Okay, how departments gain and lose power, you understand. The problems they solve, their resources, the revenue, and what have you, they control, you understand, and how the skills there, are they commoditized, are they dormant skills or not. So what indicators are we supposed to look at? We look at in departments to understand which department is gaining or losing power. Number one, relative pay as power indicator. In different organizations, they say your salary is a secret, but some departments earn more than other departments. So those departments earning more is a signal that this particular department is very key to the organization and is central to whatever they are doing. So relative pay as power indicator. Then physical location significance. The location of the department or the location of the office you're operating. Are you in the corporate headquarters? Maybe, for example, in Lagos. Are you in Abuja? Or are you somewhere far away, you understand, in what remote location? That you might be forgotten very easily. So relative pay one, number two, physical location and significance. Number three, committee representation importance. The department individuals you understand how many committees they do belong to and how important are those committees to whatever the vision of the organization is. Then attention patterns reveal power. Observing who is consulted during crisis and whose opinions matters uncovers hidden power. If there's a crisis in the organization, you understand who is being consulted, which department are they banking on, you understand, to and lead in resolving the issue. So both as an individual and as departments, these are things we can look at to identify where power lies. Number one, relative pay. Number two, physical location. Number three, committee representation. Number four, attention patterns, reveal power. Who gets the most attention in terms of crisis? Who's what they say a wartime general and a peacetime general, as the saying goes. So how do we balance established power centers over emerging opportunities as individuals? Remember, all we are talking about is how you position yourself in an organization so that you can grow very fast. The first slide spoke about positioning yourself. The second slide spoke about how departments gain and lose power. The third slide speaks about indicators that show where power lies in organizations. Now, this slide shows how it speaks about how to balance established power centers and emerging opportunities. You understand? So, emerging powers. What are emerging powers? What are established opportunities? Choosing between stability in established centers and opportunity in emerging units involves balancing risk and reward. Established powers are those units, you understand, that have been there for a very long time and are established. For example, if you look at industries, we have old companies, for example, and then we have startups, So in organizations too, we have established departments that have been there for very long, as old as a department, and we have new departments where we have emerging opportunities. It's left for you to decide where you're going to be. Is it an established power center, for example, in sales that has been there as old as the organization, or in a new emerging opportunity, maybe AI market, for example, in the organization? Where do you belong to? Where do you position yourself? And what's your your yardstick for measuring where you belong to, right? Is it the pay in that department? Is it the influence in that department? Is it the skill set required to be there? What would determine your choice of where to place yourself? Is it established power center or emerging opportunity? Then individuals will think entrepreneurially, embracing calculated risk for accelerated influence and learning. Let me give a practical example here. There's a new department called the fiber optic department, right, in my own organization that deals with internet fiber. And globally, this is where the telecoms market, for example, is shifting to. This is where attention is going to, because the consumption of data on that fiber is far bigger or greater than the data consumed on our mobile devices. So the revenue for the organization strategically sits in the fiber business. So people are moving and running to the fiber unit because this is where the future lies in the organization. It's an emerging opportunity compared to established power center. I'm almost done, please. Sorry, apologies. Then there's what is called unconventional path that builds power. Your background and the kind of experience you have, you understand, leads to power you can gain within an organization. For example, you've worked with maybe in the office of a CEO, for example, as an analyst, for example, you've been exposed to a lot of data, a lot of information, a lot of opportunity that analysts within the organization on the same payroll with you are not exposed to that particular kind of experience over time. So that unconventional experience you have that has nothing to do with your education, for example, might lead to growth exponentially for you, you know. So we need to acquire as much as we can unconventional skills and opportunity where we can get to acquire unconventional experiences, because it's position us as fast as possible to grow significantly. Now, for leaders in an organization, you understand, you have to look at a few things to understand that determine your path of leadership. Leaders should pursue roles with cross-functional exposure and strategic ownership beyond just technical skills. As individuals and as leaders, we should pursue roles in organizations with cross-functional exposure. For example, you're in Department A, you understand, if all you do lies within Department A and that's all you do, I think that's not a very wise choice for you. You should pursue roles with exposure. You will touch base with people from all over the department, so you have an oral experience of what the organization do and how it works, you know. And succession plan organizations strictly lies around people that have a cross-functional experience all around, you understand. Understanding and managing power dynamics can improve talent allocation, transition management, and sustained performance. So this largely speaks into what kind of roles you should pursue as individuals and leaders in organizations. Cross-functional roles with cross-functional exposure and ownership beyond just technical skills. As I've said earlier in the previous slide, we spoke about unconventional skills, right? So these unconventional skills builds your talent capacity and gives you that exposure to operate cross-functionally, and gives you ownership strategically beyond just technical skills you have. Sorry, am I on time, please? This is the last slide I have, and it's just speaking into how you a 90-day plan for action. You know, you can apply and position yourself strategically. Number one, identify functions controlling budgets, decisions, and executive attention. Clarify current power structures. Number two, scanning for rising functions. We spoke about emerging opportunities, monitor market shifts. I spoke about how the fiber business is the a future of telecom business, regulatory changes, and leadership trends to support emerging influential functions, assessing position, evaluate roles to determine if they lie in crowded or low visibility or emerging leverage. Then lastly, seek cross-functional projects, rotations, or strategic roles to enhance influence and visibility. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Aliu. Thank you so much for that presentation. Amazing one. Please, can we, drop our emojis just before the next speaker? We have a new person. I'm seeing a new handle here, MD's office, S in bracket SWDC. We'd like to meet you, we'd like to know you. Please kindly unmute, and if possible, you can turn on your video and introduce yourself to us. Oh, KOS was that person in disguise. Or is it my network?
KOS.
It was KOS, right?
It's KOS. KOS is the
Okay,
same
okay.
KOS that we know. It's not a Trojan. Until KOS says the word, then you wouldn't know if it's KOS. How do you confirm that?
Awesome. All right, Mr. Amaro, are you ready for us to take chapter 4?
Thank you very much.
All right.
And thank you. I think at this point I can call you Dr. Aliu, because that was wonderful. So thank you so much, Dr. Aliu, for that session. Okay, so let me quickly share my screen. So I think I prepared for chapter 3 and chapter 4, incidentally, because I didn't know which of them I'll do. So, like Princess will always say, we're always prepared.
That's
So,
superb. Nice one.
yeah. Okay, so it's been a wonderful book. I'm trying to share my screen. Thus far, in fact, it's so practical even in my own career path as well. Please confirm that you can see my screen, please.
Yes, I can see it full
Okay.
and clear.
Sorry, I will just go to chapter 4. Great. So chapter 1, although I missed yesterday, but I know I read it, and chapter 1 talked about tells us that performance does not necessarily guarantee success. You know, that's something I learned very late in my career, right? And then also chapter 2 talked about personal qualities that, you know, that can bring influence, things like ability, skill, ambition, energy, and all. So thank you, Dr. Ali, for taking us through chapter 3, where you talked about where to start, where you choose to actually function affects your rate of progress. That's something I really got from chapter 3. Okay, so chapter 4 talks about getting in, standing out, and breaking some rules. Really, I think that this resonated a lot more to me because when I read chapter 3, you know, Dr. Lee, I know you would agree with me. When you read chapter 3, you see that if I'm not in finance, that means it's like I'm not on my way up. Oh. If I'm not in legal, that means I'm not well positioned. Oh. You know, they had that, you know, tweak in, am I sure I'm in the right career? You know, then when I read chapter 4, you know, there was a bit of balance, right? So in a nutshell, really what areas I learned, chapter 4 gave us a bit of balance that wherever you are, really, it depends on how well you position. There is a bit of responsibility that you're going to take, right, to better position yourself. Launching or relaunching your career requires that you develop both the ability and the willingness to ask for things that you learn that you need to stand out, right? So the goal, from what I got in chapter 4, is that the goal at every point in time, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, be it as a politician, be it as a doctor. So you could actually be a doctor, but not an outstanding doctor, right? So chapter 4 takes us beyond the career itself, that I am a inventory and logistics officer. I'm in supply chain. I'm not the sales director or salesperson, right? So that is proper career. So our conventional career paths in Nigeria, for example, I want my child to read medicine to become a doctor. I want my child to read law to become a lawyer. I want my child to do engineering, become a civil engineer. These are traditional career paths that we have, right? But chapter 4 takes us beyond that to say, look, whatever career path that you are in, you need to do certain things to bring yourself out. In the journey to creating a path to power, you must be willing to put yourself forward. If you don't, who will? Who will do it? Right? That difficult task, if you don't take a leap of faith and get into it, who will do it? For someone to hire you or promote you, they must notice you. You need to do some things to stand out, right? I remember some time ago when I got it was like a management training when I got my opportunity to work with MTN some years ago, and it was a management training kind of opportunity where I think we were almost 2,000 that time. But so many, you know. And then when we had that training, a lot of people that we just came with all our different skills. I mean, my first degree was in biochemistry, so and from biochemistry I'm going to telecoms, you know, that kind of stuff. So
But I found something very interesting because I began to see people who, I think it was my first time, because I saw people who were far away. Maybe I think there was some guy who read, is it botany or something, but had the skill for graphic designs and animation. And then at that time, MTN was about, is it 10 years? Thereabout, they were celebrating about 10 years. And then he did some animation and then had something and then came to play it. That was it. He was like the best management trainee guy. In fact, he was absorbed into marketing, all manner of stuff, right? So he just did something different to stand out. All I was just concerned with was, let me just get this work. Oh, I just want to do the basics and just get the work. I know computer skill. Let me just ensure that I don't make mistake. Just the basics. But there was somebody that went the extra mile. Another thing that he mentioned here, and I think that is something that would help us, is asking questions. He said asking often works, right? So the goal of chapter 4 is to bring you out, is to bring us out, is for you to know that, look, I'm here, and it's good that I have memorable times here, right? Asking often works. Kit Ferrazzi did something. He's a Harvard Business School graduate that got a placement with Deloitte. And then he had the opportunity to have a conversation on the interview that he had with the head of Deloitte Consulting then in America. Interestingly, after the interview, he was in a restaurant. The guy asked him, "Do you have any question for me?" And he said, "No, but I'll take your offer." Kit told the head of consulting, "I'll take your offer on one condition. And that condition is that both of us will get to meet in this restaurant once a year and have dinner." So what Kit was trying to do is retain power. I know you're taking me now to be this C-suite guy, but you see, I don't want to just turn out to be one of your employees, right? Just the way we've sat down now, I mean, getting to do an interview with the CEO of a company in a restaurant tells you that that's not a conventional. In fact, that's a C-suite candidate, actually. So it means that there was a bit of rapport. So what Kit was trying to do was to retain that rapport so that he could retain power, right? I learned something very valuable from that. Not everybody will ask that. Maybe they will just ask, yeah, so I don't know, but asking often works. Think creatively on what you want to do. When Barack Obama arrived in the US Senate, he built relationships by asking for help. I read one of his books. I'm trying to remember one white cover book. I've forgotten the title of the book now. But he used questions. It's on his book. It's in his book. There was one. The oldest guy in the Senate at that time was his name was Bob Dylan, and then he knew that everybody would circle around Bob Dylan because Bob Dylan was like the oldest senator, and he was quite on the advanced side in terms of age, And Barack Obama said, if I get this guy, if I'm one of these guys, right hand man, I think I'll make a better influence in the Senate. And he was a black man. And then he went to meet, he would always ask Bob Dylan questions. And if you read this chapter 4, he mentioned something that also struck me, for the fact that guys who are ahead actually enjoy it when you ask them these questions, because it gives them a better self-awareness, more like, oh, okay, I'm ahead, right? So they resonate better and are quick to teach, so they look at you better. So Barack Obama used that, to create better relationships within the Senate. Now, in advertising, so there's a concept called brand recall. I would like to end this summary with that. And It is more like what beyond the speech, what would the viewers remember that advert for, right? So in fact, when I checked on this brand recall, they right now what they try to do is even measure it like a measurable entity. So what level of memorable feedbacks are coming from the adverts that was done, right? So the writer is saying, look, if you want to go on a path to power, then you must brand yourself. And I think that that's really, really fundamental because there's so much about my career. I am a you. How about you? What brand? What's your brand? Who are you? Right? Um, there should be that I met this person and then I see this person sometime later and I can just remember some very salient points about this person. How strong is your brand? Right? How strong is your brand? So I think that these are things that I see a lot of responsibility in chapter 4, beyond my title, right? I am a doctor. In fact, this is very practical for me because, it was just, was it 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, I don't think I've told Princess this. It was just 2 weeks ago. I sat down somewhere and I was telling a friend of mine that, look, I think it's time I change my own title. After all, I'm doing PhD in health economics. So my new title is I'm a health economist, right? Anybody that just asks me, but this book really, really brings out a lot of things that you really want to look at. If you're a health economist, fine. But what exactly sets you apart? What makes you stand out? What in health economics are you good at? In fact, as far as I am concerned, having read this book, I don't think that the part I should even toe is okay, the title of being a health economist. No, is what I am doing that recognizes me as a health economist. Thank you very much. It's a one slide. Well, thank you. David, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. This one slide is still yet very, very powerful. Still very powerful, and it carries weight, and we can we can all attest to it that you were able to give your points clearly, and make it even more relatable with your story, and we are also able to learn from it. Can we give him his flowers? Can we give Mr. Maro his flowers and appreciate him in the chat box as well? Thank you, Mr. Maro, for your presentation. I really took a lot of lessons from it. So, you said your title is now the health economist, right? I love that. That's the first time I'm hearing that, health economist. Well done, Mr. Maro. And so, quick one would just, get feedback in terms of the holistic presentation from both Mr. Aliu. Just appreciation of what they've done. I can see the chat. Mr. Twin says clinical presentation of, Prof. Maro. That's a good one. Princess says Dr. Maro, brilliant. Engineer Ken says well done, Maro. And we have lots of good comments here. The both presentations are well apt to me. So I would like to get everyone in the room would like to get your feedbacks via your voices. So I'd like to hear your voice. And, if you have questions and if you have any additions just before we round up, if you have any additions to what has been said. I mean, for me, I think maybe I'll just start right away because I think this presentation has a way of always every time we have each books that we are reading, it always have a way of reflecting your maybe if not your current state of mind or your current state of position, right? It will be something that we can all relate with. And this one we are talking about power. I was even thinking that at the first instance when I saw the book, I said, is it that we want to learn how to manipulate people again? But it's not this type of it's about like Mr. Aliu presentation is about getting close and positioning yourself in that right direction of being in authority. And from Mr. Maro's angle is about how you need to do the right thing to get the right attention and sustain that attention to get promoted, right? So, I mean, I begin to look at it because I've had a feedback in time past when it comes to this, promotion, no promotion, or something. And, one of the things that I got is that, I'm not seeing enough, right? So, and that questions, I begin to ask like other colleagues, and people say, Omo, the way it works here, you have to be in people's faces. And I'm saying like, but if you put a deliverable down on my table, there's no deliverable that I will not try and deliver, right? So what then is now the problem? Is it that I need to do eye service? And generally, I mean, I ask other people in the same industry and outside my workspace, and people feel like, oh yes, in this industry where we are, the way it works is quite different. If you're in the banking sector, people don't come and boss you up. It's different. But if you're in a creative space, right, everybody wants to see you, everyone wants to see you speak, everyone wants to see you do this and do that. And sometimes, put your mouth in conversations that maybe doesn't necessarily has to do with you. So, but then my question, right, is how do you now balance trying to, do the right thing that you need to do and maybe push yourself beyond the limit? Like you mentioned, somebody made an animated video, right, and it was seen, right? How then do you now balance it with you now doing, over sabi, they used to call that maybe over sabi. How do you now balance over sabi with actually that this thing, let me put a touch on it because I know that this would actually make sense. I don't know if anybody get my question, but that's my
Yeah,
questions discussion.
yeah,
Thank you,
thanks,
Mr.
David. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I could just jump right in there. Thank you so much to everyone on the call. Good to see the old timers or some of our old timers, KOS, and everyone else as well. Thank you so much. Just before I go to answer your question, I just wanted to say a big thank you to yourself as well, David. I see the improvement every time. I see how you've really, evolved. I can see the calmness. I can see the maturity in getting, stuff done across board. Just I know Princess put you on the spot to get this presentation done and all the what do you call it now, the facilitation done. And the calmness and the skill set that you've exhibited, it's quite impressive. So thumbs up to you. Thumbs up to the first speaker, Dr. Aliyu, I'll call him, before I also go to Dr. Maro. Thank you so much, for giving us those insights. Thank you for the exposition from the writer's, perspective. I think what stood out for me with his own presentation is the power play dynamics in organizations, cutting across positions, cutting across departments, cutting across, the type of organization itself, how dynamic the organization is. Is it a startup? Is it an established organization? So things like location can play a very important role if you work in the head office. You're already close to the people who make those big decisions, and that can get you faster into management positions because you work with them. And I've seen that happen again and again. So you need to understand that dynamic, and then to balance it out for Maro's presentation in chapter 4, where it speaks to the fact that, it doesn't just matter if you are well positioned, maybe from a position of you being in certain locations or in certain departments within the organization, how you also position yourself by branding yourself correctly does most of the magic in that sense. So even if you're in the head office, there are many people that have worked in the head office for years and they will continue to be the underdogs, right? But someone from the local office somewhere, I think was it Tony Elumelu or somebody who went from a very obscure branch even to rise to the position of MD. I can't remember which of those bank executives that is, but just to give you a perspective that you don't have to be at the head office to be noticed, right? You can be in your little corner doing your thing and branding yourself and improving on yourself, branding yourself positively to make that happen. So I won't want to speak too much because of other speakers. I think that would be my 2 cents. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Mr. Tony. Who else is going up? Who else?
And I hope that answered your question as well. You were talking about the fact that how do you not get to do the oversabi thing? So first of all, I'd say there's nothing like oversabi, even though we have tagged it that way for all the way from primary school. I remember those people who ask questions, those people who probe to know more, eventually become more brilliant than everyone else, right? Some of us that were brilliant but not actively asking questions, sometimes we run into problems because we were shy, we were, timid. But those guys, you see them, they were the ones that are always at the top of the class. Because they wanted to know any and everything. So there's no such thing as oversabi. It's just our own. What do you call it now? We have branded them in such ways, or is our own
like our own ideology.
Yeah, there's a word I was looking for, but I can't remember. Yeah. So let's don't stop asking, don't stop seeking for information. That's what makes you get better. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we'd love to hear from other people. If you have addition, if you have anything to just drop, your 2 cents are also appreciated as well. We have KOS here, we have Dr. Morel here, we have Lady Afsa, and okay, someone is on mute.
Yes,
okay, KOS.
Yeah, good evening,
Right,
everyone. It's good to be here, and thank you to the 2 presenters. Wonderful presentation. I just want to answer your question, David. I say that Oluwatoyin has answered, but for me, I'll say in just maybe a sentence, is that you cannot fit in and stand out at the same time. You have to choose one. Either you fit in or you stand out. And it's better you keep standing out. So there's nothing like oversabi. Just keep doing your thing, keep showing up, and you get there. Thank you all.
That's the master's touch. You hear that? Simple.
Yes. I'm clocking it yet.
Clock it. Gen Z, clock it in.
Yes,
all right, good evening, everyone. Oh, beautiful presentation. And KOS, it's good to have you back. Like we have Aliyu. Aliyu joined us yesterday and took the liberty to present today, even though he was, impressed. We impressed upon him to present today. And what a beautiful presentation. Aliyu, well done. I see that you've maintained your steez when it comes to, how you present. Presentation slides, beautiful. I love the flow, but I would add just one thing. Deflection at the end of your presentation, at the end of your slide. I would like for every one of us, and I'm saying it to me, so every feedback I give, is a reminder of who I am, what I have been, and the journey ahead of me. So I always love to re-echo those feedback for myself also as a lesson. When it comes to managing your time, both of you did great job in managing your time. Since you have the mic, Saliu, speak on. You were still right on time, right? Try as much as you can to always give us a powerful end. Kill it when you want to end your slide. Pause and seize the room and then close your slide. I do the same mistake because most time I don't present my last slide, which is usually my contact slides. You know, so you are not memorable at that stage when you don't get to pause and finish strong. So please, for all of us, always try to use your voice, the tone of your voice, to pause and then finish strong and kill it. Your slides were beautiful. The messages resonated a lot with me, you know, where to start. I think that was a very powerful presentation for chapter 3, because it just took me back to corporate, when I was in corporate, when I was working with multinational company. It just took me back there. The interplay, the politics, and sometimes how to gain power is your own visibility, is what you make of your visibility. I think another interesting part that you portray in that summary was the unconventional part that builds disproportionate power. That for me stood out a lot because I think it also answers to your question, David. If you reflect on that, there are skills that we all must acquire. We have to take control to empower ourselves to be able to chart the course for ourselves. And I think that is my big reflection on chapter 3. Going back to Maro, both of you finished very powerfully. How you were able to manage the time for us to have this discussion is great job. And it tells to your mastery, to your presentation mastery. And I really love it a lot. Maro, I was very impressed that you could use one slide. You know, chapter 4 is very detailed, but you were able to compress everything and give us a keynote. That was so powerful. And you did it with lots of, you know, exposition into your experience, which is brilliant storytelling. I love the fact that the slides were, your one pager was so clean, you know, and then you spoke so much. Beautiful for me, thumbs up. To answer to your question, David, there's nothing like oversabi. If you know, you know. Those who oversabi have spent a lot of time developing their skills. You know, like Oluwatoyin mentioned, it's just our own cultural way of bullying people. You too sabi, you too do, you too, you know, Osheju. It's our own cultural way of bullying people. When people cannot meet up with your level of excellence, that's what we call people. And I'm sure all of us are culprits in this room, because whether in the classroom or growing up, it's something that we always label people who do too much. Asheju, you know. So I think it is very important for us to throw away that kind of belief system. Throw it away. If you know and you think you can add value to something, speak up. There are beautiful ways to do it. You can corner the person who is the project owner, you know, and say, oh, would you mind if I do A, B, C, D? Would you mind if I lend my voice to this? So there's so many ways in which you can, you know, gain visibility and put yourself in boardrooms that you are not even supposed to be in. I don't know if that makes sense, David. You know, so, and you have mastered the art over the years. You keep working on yourself. Show it. If you work on yourself and you know so much and you've developed skills, where are you keeping it? Show it. Present your skills in rooms that matters to people who have influence, you know, so that you can be recognized for the work that you do. And learn how to blow your whistle. It's very important. Sometimes we do so much, nobody is seeing, nobody is praising you, and then you forget about, you know, the fact that you already acquire certain excellent skills. So please learn to showcase your power. Yeah,
Princess,
that's what
sorry.
it is. Yes,
if I may come in slightly there, I was going to say that my whole lifetime, actually, I've only met one over syllabus person, and happens to be the one talking now.
Not true.
I want to stone you a bit. I'm just joking, but you know, sometimes you meet some people and you're already like intimidated. Rather than get intimidated, you pause and you learn, right? That's how to, you know, sometimes because we're intimidated and we are quick to judge, we're quick to give those stereotypes and say, oh, this person behaves as if they not them sabi pass, you know. So it's very important for us to learn as we grow. At the end of the day, you know, like KOS rightly said, you stand out. Thank you.
Yeah, beautifully said. And of course, now that we know that that's your power, your skills, your intellect, your intelligence, your everything you do and the way you do it is your own power and your style. So you have to stay in your domain and do it. And then if you lack any particular skills, whether it's handling conversation, whether it's getting into boardroom, then you learn it. Does that make sense? You learn it. People are playing this power influencing game in a way that is unimaginable. But this is happening every day. This is real life conversation. And we need to empower ourselves with such skills to be able to, you know, get to the right destination. My contribution. Thank you.
Thank you, Princess. Okay. Engineer Ken.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening,
For me,
sir.
this day, we are trying to accentuate politics in the workplace, trying to show off, just not being yourself. Well, I don't know if it is the in thing, no, show off. But for me, I guess one should be himself. Try your best, give your best, do your best. You don't have to try to please everyone. If your boss is not somebody who has the kind of attitude you have, you try your best to align to him. Well, no problem. I guess that's the latest thing. It has been scientifically discovered that you need to play politics to rise in your workplace, truly. Or for example, there's a movie, The Three Idiots. The Three Idiots. It's an Indian movie, but subtitled in English. If you watch it, you discover that the guy who was trying to show off that he's so intelligent ended up not being the most intelligent. The most intelligent there was a quiet guy who does his things naturally, but no problem. Probably it's a scientific research that has shown that you need to show off to be recognized. You need to play along even when you are not in tune with what it's supposed to be. So I guess for the young people coming up, we'll teach them that you need to acquire power by pretending sometimes, probably call it pretense. So, but for me, I've outgrown that. I accept who I am and I can't change so easily. So, but that was good presentation from Aliu, Dr. Aliu and Dr. Dr. Maro. That was a good one, a lovely presentation. Thank you very much.
David, can you hear me? Hello, David, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, I can hear you.
Sorry, yeah. Do you mind if I just speak to Engineer Ken's point just for a minute or so?
Okay.
So, Engineer Ken, thank you very much, and I always love your perspective. And again, like yesterday's facilitator Nenlap said, you know, you can agree to disagree. Especially when we are gathered like this, you know, we want to learn, want to understand things better and better to make ourselves better as well. So I'll just say that yes, there's a place for some sort of power play. I wouldn't like to call it politics in full, but yes, politics in the place of work. But then that does not say you should give away your value or your value system in that sense, right? What am I saying? For instance, if you work with a boss that their value system doesn't align, with your value systems, and when I mean your value system, I'm not talking about your personal value system, the organizational value system, in the way that the organization has set its rules, because we are all converging in that place to work for the organization and to meet the objectives of that organization. So if it doesn't meet those value systems, I can understand that, yes, it's very difficult to work with such persons. But what we are saying is that there are ways that we can, work with people, even the most difficult people in the world, in a way that, okay, yes, I may not agree with XYZ, but when it comes to this, and this, there's a way that I can, I'll work with you to ensure that the organizational goals are met, right? And that's what we're talking about. And so in doing that, don't focus on the things that the person is doing, either to bring you down or to bring others down around you. It matters because, of course, those things affect morale and everything else. But if you're focusing more on how to achieve, the best for the organization, even the blind will see it, right? Or they will feel it somehow that, okay, this guy is doing his best and is trying his best. It might not be that guy directly over you that would even sort of elevate you to the next position. It might be somebody else from somewhere that you've helped. Maybe somebody in the organization you've helped to sort out a problem or to do something, and the way you've positioned yourself and all of that, who would just say, oh, there's an opportunity to elevate someone to this position, and that person will be the one to. So that's what we're talking about here. We're not saying you should, we're not downplaying our values and saying that we should align with values that are not ethical or things that, or people who treat others in a bad way, right? So we need to balance the information that is coming out of this room, so that we don't think that, okay, we are saying you should be subservient to everything that comes your way. You should just be a boy, or you should just accept everything that's thrown at you. I don't know if I made any good points there. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir, for pointing that out as well. I'm sure we all got that. I mean, it's very clear. It's not to play small, but be who you are and own your skill. So thank you very much. Thank you everyone for your contributions. With that, we'll end today's session, and we'll see you tomorrow for chapter 5 and chapter 6. Still on the book Power. Let's have a great day, and enjoy the rest of our days. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, David. Thank you, everybody.
Good night, everyone.